Hey guys, so for today's video, we're going to be changing the chain on my bike. I'll show you how to do it and why it's important to maintain your chain nice and tight. Alright, let's get into the video. So the importance of having a tight chain on your bike is so you can propel your bike forward faster as if your bike chain was loose. If the chain was loose, you'll be losing a lot of power from the initial move, and also it'll be dangerous for you because the chain could either come off while you're pedaling, slip off while you're going up a hill. Very important to have and maintain your chain tight. Okay, so for this job, you're gonna need the following tools: a chain breaker. Just make sure it's the right kind of chain breaker. This one is for 8-speed, 9-speed, and 10-speed chains. Yes, there is a difference. And then you'll need a pair of vice grips or pliers, preferably vice grips. And then an Allen key, like this long. Yes, I know you're probably wondering, what the heck do you need an Allen key for? But I'll explain, or I'll show you when we get there. Okay, so a quick way, just a little fast way of knowing if your chain needs replacing or not is by first putting the chain on the biggest chain ring and just pulling on this chain, and you see how there's a huge gap there, like a pretty big gap. I don't know if you can see that really well. Pretty big gap there. There shouldn't be that much gap. That means your chain needs to be replaced because there's way too much slack. Alright, so now what you want to do is get your chain breaker, put it up against the link, turn this, make sure that it's lined up with the pin, and you'll notice tension as you're turning. So just keep turning. Now you just want to see the pin on the other side. But don't take out the pin completely. Now just back it off. Okay, so it's still on there. I'll have to push out the pin a little bit further out. Okay. There. Okay, so after taking the chain off, what I usually like to do, just to make sure it's the right length, making sure that the new chain is the right length, I like to lay down the old chain and the new chain side to side. Alright, we just line this up. Okay, after you have it lined up, you could see that, okay, so the new chain is the bottom and the old chain is the top. You can see that the new chain is slightly longer than the old one. So all we have to do is take out the pin from here and link up the chain after. So we just need to remove about 6 links. So after figuring out where you have to break the link, you want to this time take the pin out completely, because you have a pin on the other side of the chain. So take it out so you can see the pins out there completely. Back this off. Comes out just like that. Don't lose the pin. Okay, so another thing I wanted to mention, if you're gonna be comparing the length between the two chains, you want to make sure that you're putting it on a clean surface. You don't want any debris, dirt, or hairs going onto the new chain. Okay, so now putting the chain back on, you want to start from the derailleur. You want to go over and then under the pulleys. Same way like you took it off, obviously, same way it's going to go back on. And then through the cassette. Now, if you took the chain off when you were in the biggest gear in the front, then guess what? You're putting it back on to the biggest gear in the front. So now, linking the chain back together, you'll want this lined up, the pin lined up with the chain breaker. Hold it down with your thumb. Make sure the pin's lined up with the chain. And then when you get through the other side of the chain, you'll feel some tension there. That's when you know you hit the other side of the link. So just make sure you don't go too far in. Then you want the pin just slightly above, popping out, as well as the other side. So you want it to be even on both sides. Back it off. Okay, so you're going to notice this as soon as you install it. You're going to notice it's going to be really stiff to move. And you notice this side here, these other links are really easy to move. That's because you have to adjust the pin through the link. And this is where I said you'll need that that Allen key and the vice grip. So just hold it into place like that and just slightly bend the links. And we'll try that again. Yep. So now all the links have good play, good movement on them, especially that stiff one. And that's what you really need. That's all you really need that Allen key for. Just want to double check that they're all moving good. Because if you leave that on stiff like that, it will cause a lot of problems. Anyways, another thing I wanted to mention was this bike here is a 9-speed. You want to make sure you get a 9-speed chain. If you have a 10-speed chain, 10-speed, 11, and so on. Alright. You've seen even with the 9-speed, I had to make a few adjustments with the chain. So you want to make sure that, one, you're getting the right size chain for the right the right gearing. And two, you want to always measure your old chain with your new chain. Okay, so we'll put this on. Make sure it goes through all the gears smoothly. Okay, so remember that old chain, how much slack it had? How much play it had? Look at the new chain now. There's barely any play. Hold on. There's barely any play with that. That's what you want. You want a nice tight fit around the chainring. Hey guys, so I ran into a bit of an issue after installing the chain on my bike. I went for a test ride and it turned out that I needed to replace my cassette as well as my chain. I realized this because the chain just kept slipping over the teeth on the cassette. So now you might want to take in mind you might have to replace your cassette at the same time you're replacing your chain. So to avoid this issue, you can purchase a cog wear indicator, which unfortunately I don't have. I had to learn the hard way. Anyways, I'm sure once you take it into the shop, they could tell you whether or not your cassette needs to be replaced. So moving on to the new cassette, like I said, I changed up the gear ratios a bit. My old cassette was a 12 by 25. The new one I got here is a 13 by 26. And by finding out what gear ratio you have, first of all, simply just count the number of teeth on the small end of the cassette. So in this case, the smallest ring here is 13, and then count the last biggest ring set on the cassette, which in this case is a 26. So just keep that in mind when you're getting a new cassette. So now that my gear ratio has changed, I have to add one link to the new chain. So that's it for today's video. I hope this was a helpful one for you. Just comment down below what you guys thought, and also any other videos you'd like to see, any more do-it-yourself videos like this, and just like and subscribe. Yeah.